Hello everyone, nubkeks here and welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how to build this particular duo that can take down stage 24 of the Sand Devil's Necropolis. It's actually my best time so far, is 135 with this duo. I started building this on stream today and I finished it and actually learned a lot since then. So this duo was made probably most famous by Saf from HH Gaming. So I really encourage you to go watch his video. It's called, 0 books or masteries required, over on the HH Gaming Network. So this was it was the first time not the first time we'd seen this duo. We had seen this before. But what he was able to do was to make it 100% win rate, which is actually quite difficult to do. So let's click start and let's not go to stage 25. It's not going to work on stage 25 with Ninja. And let's go. Well, it would be very slow. And interestingly, with my team here, with my build, it won't work on 25, but it will on 24. So let's talk about it, because we've actually learned, have learned a lot of new things, even since when Saf made his video. So you can see how this works, how we're getting the damage in. Very simple, very straightforward, is that we're sort of biding our time. When the Sand Devil does Feasting Swarm, this ignores all defense. This is going to kill our entire team. With Godseeker Ninja's passive, it's going to revive her automatically. So here she goes. She will revive herself because she's in the lead. She picks up Ninja, and because the boss puts himself to sleep with this move, Ninja can then come in and explode the HP burns. And that's basically how it works. Now, the other trick to this is that you need to survive all these other hits the boss is doing, and that is where the intensiveness comes in terms of building enough defensive stats that you're not going to die in between. Because if Ninja dies, Godseeker will waste her revive. If her max HP gets depleted and she dies, then it's going to waste her passive, all of that stuff. So that's really bad. You need to make sure you don't die in between, which is where things get tough, and where we've also learned a couple of things, again, even since Saf came up with it. All this iteration is sort of coming up with new cool stuff. So we'll just see how the run goes. This one's going to be a little bit slow. We have landed Brimstone, I think, for the first time this run. So you'll see when Brimstone hits, it really speeds it up. And that's definitely an interesting idea, and an interesting part of this speed tune is in order to ensure that the Brimstone will land at the proper time. So I'll show you the speed I've got on my Ninja, which from my testing, he takes the exact right number of turns to land Brimstone every time when the sleep comes up, because that's something to watch out for, right? With Brimstone, Plarium has unfortunately confirmed it. If you land Brimstone when he's awake, it will put Brimstone on cooldown. There's a hidden 4-turn cooldown to Brimstones. We want to make sure that Ninja's at the right speed for min-maxing this, that he can land Brimstone every time. Now, he's only 1-star awakened, so he only has the whatever low chance to place Brimstone, but Brimstone's going to affect the speed of your run a ton. I've done this run and it'd be closer to 3 minutes with no Brimstone procs. As you saw, I got loads of Brimstone procs on that best run. We did it in about 1:30. It shaved a lot of time off, so there's a lot of luck that comes into it. So what are the keys to making this comp work? Well, this is where it's really interesting. So the boss has 265 speed on stage 24. In Saf's initial video, we were thinking that you would need more speed than the boss to make it work on Godseeker. Now, from my testing, what I've actually found is 260 seems to work, which is actually maybe on the low end of what we thought would work, but it seems that it will work for stage 24. This will not work for stage 25. The reason being that we need regen and preferably immortal. For my testing, I think immortal is almost mandatory unless you got really good gear, but you need these 2 stats on her to fix her destroyed max HP. And in order to fix that destroyed max HP after the boss one-shots your team, she needs to take 2 turns before he wakes up. How are we able to take 2 turns if the boss is 265 speed and she's only 260? Well, the reason we're able to do that is with this cheeky little mastery here, Spirit Haste, which is going to give her an extra 8 speed for each dead ally. So that extra speed with some turn meter shenanigans seems to be enough to let her take 2 turns at 260 speed before the boss with 265 takes 2 turns and wakes up. So that is what's going on there, which is very cheeky. Like I said, this is very specific. And in fact, as you can see, if we add 8 bonus speed on to 260, she's at 268. She's not quick enough for stage 70. for stage 25, where the boss is 270 speed. I don't have enough glyphs. I don't have the gear to make her faster right now. It's possible, maybe with 262, 263 speed, perhaps it will work on stage 25. Maybe one of you guys can test that and let us know. What we want to do with Godseeker then, so you want her to be, I think, probably around 260. Possibly you could drop it down to 257, 258, but she needs to be pretty much quick enough. You'll see it very clearly, fast enough to take 2 turns after the boss one-shots them before he wakes up, so she heals herself up. She then needs to have a ton of defensive stats, a ton. I've got her with about 64,000 HP, and I've got her with about 4.4k defense, and it does get a little bit ropey, guys. It does get a bit tight on that sometimes. She needs a ton of effective HP. I saw, for example, Tyraku has run this with her 53k HP, so drop that down, but crank the defense up to 4.8. So there is lenience in terms of defense versus HP. It's basically giving you effective HP, increasing or decreasing each one, and how they work in relation to each other. But you'll work it out pretty quickly. She should be fully healing up her destroyed max HP, and she should be safe even if she is crit by the boss, but she needs a lot of defensive stats, and that is basically the key with her. None of the other stats matter. You just need speed. It's got to be somewhere around this, so 2 turns before the boss goes, and then a lot of HP and a lot of defense, right? That's what she needs. She needs to be in regen and immortal as well, so this is very intensive for gearing. And for masteries, these are the masteries we're using. So, for example, giving her less damage from AoE, making her get more healing, that's important. Shadow heal is essential. Healing her whenever the boss is healed, that's going to help her stay alive. Less damage from every hit from a boss will make it more consistent. More HP stuff over here. And then even Elixir of Life for even more max HP to make it easier. And then I already talked about how important Spirit Haste is as well. So there you go. For the blessing, I do have her 2-star awakened, which helps because it gives her bonus HP here. I've given her Miracle Heal, which is going to help a bit with that destroyed max HP. Now, it's very minor. You'd need to really awaken her a lot for that to have an impact. But stuff that's going to give her bonus HP, even bonus defense, anything like that, even getting her 2-star awakened to get those stats is going to help. And then, of course, I don't have any of her gear as of yet awakened, but ascended. But ascending any of her gear is really going to help. So in terms of like the particular gear I have on her, looking for, this is not a great piece. We got 2 rolls in speed, so that could be improved. 2 rolls of speed right there with the HP percent. Again, not amazing, but it's the best gear I've got. This is very good. 2 rolls in speed and 2 rolls in HP percent. HP percent, not a great bit, but it's got some defense percent and a little bit of speed. I'm tight on regen gear. I just am, unfortunately. Defense percent with 2 rolls and speed is decent, and then speed boots with HP percent and defense percent. It's just tough to get all 6 of these pieces in the same gear set. Now, the interesting thing, when we come to Ninja and we come to the DPS, what are we looking for? Why is Ninja so good? Well, number 1, because he's legendary, he can bring in Brimstone, so that's a benefit. Number 2, HP burn does a lot of damage to this boss. Okay, poisons are going to have their damage reduced by 90%, but HP burn, as far as I'm aware, does full damage. So that is why HP burn is the way to go. Ninja is going to be your best option here because not only is he going to place HP burn with his A2, he's also going to activate those HP burns, so he pumps out damage very, very consistently. If you don't have a ninja, which may easily happen, I do think that pretty much any other champion with HP burn is going to work. And it doesn't even matter if it's on an active skill or not, because Godseeker, with her revive, brings those champions back with 50% turn meter and HP and resets all of their skill cooldowns. So even if their burn is on a cooldown, they can still make it work. Some interesting alternatives. I think the most common one people are using is Walking Tomb Drang. Now, he will need to be booked, as does Ninja, to make it 100%, but this cannot be resisted, and he's a very tanky champion, so he's easy to build tanky. I think another decent option for stage 24, if you don't have a Walking Tomb Drang, is Elenarl, who wouldn't need to be booked. She puts HP burn that cannot be resisted on her A1, so she needs no accuracy, but her defensive stats are pretty bad. You can focus all your gear into defense, and you'll be okay. but it might be a bit intensive. But it's champions like that. You can also use champions that do poison or just damage as well. It's quite flexible, but I think champions that place burns and explode them are going to be better. The best options. Cronam, I think, could work. He can put burn for 2 turns, and he can activate it as well. I think Cronam might work. I'm not 100% sure. It might wake the boss up early. That's the thing I'd be concerned about. So I'm not sure about that, and you might need a slightly different speed tune. I can neither confirm nor deny, unfortunately. Now, the interesting thing about Ninja is that his speed ranges are actually very large. So for me, I have my Ninja right now at 233 speed, okay? I don't know what the exact ranges are for this to work, especially because the decreased speed debuff can go out. But I can tell you from my testing here, and it's difficult to test as well, in the sense that, you know, Brimstone's not 100% chance to land, but I've seen it in multiple runs that at 233 speed, he takes the perfect number of turns to land Brimstone when he gets revived and the boss is asleep. So that works really well. Interestingly, I believe he can go as low as 190 speed, maybe 191. I'm not 100% sure between those two speeds, but as low as 190 speed. How the heck does that work, you might ask? I think the reason this works is because the Godseeker Revive gives 50% turn meter, and really all you need Ninja to do is to take 1 turn and do all the burn stuff when he wakes up and the boss is still asleep. That's all you need to do, and it doesn't really matter the rest of what he does. Or likewise for Walking Tomb Drang or any other champion you bring in. The rest of what they do doesn't hugely matter. Let me briefly mention, because that would change it a bit now I think of it. Walking Tomb Drang is slightly different. For him, you would want good speed because his A1 does activate HP burn debuffs. So you might want Walking Tomb Drang to be quite quick so that he could burn the boss and then get an A1 in as well. So you might want good speed on Walking Tomb Drang. But again, it can be a little bit lower than the boss's speed, even perhaps a good chunk, because he will get that boost of turn meter when he gets revived by Godseeker. So that's a nice thing there. But yeah, with Ninja, about 190 will totally work fine, which is very handy. You can put him in like HP percent boots or defense percent boots to try to get to stats like this. What I'm running with him, what has worked well, about 60k HP, 2.4k defense. This has worked great. But okay, this gear is very intensive, which is why you might want to consider dropping speed boots and putting him in a defensive type of boot to boost these stats up. It's a lot of defensive stats, right? It's a lot of defensive stats to get. And again, you could drop his HP lower and build that defense up higher. That can work as well. You'll figure it out very quickly when you watch the run. If he dies outside of the boss one-shot ability, you know that something has gone wrong and it doesn't work. You're going to have to up the defenses. And on top of that, he will need 500 accuracy. In fact, I think he needs slightly less because he's going to get accuracy from his masteries, right? He's going to get 20 accuracy when he's no skills on cooldown, and he's going to get revived with no skills on cooldown, and he gets a bonus 4 from here. I think you could probably get away with 480 accuracy. I think would work. So that's something that you can look at too to make that a little bit easier. I think that is enough. With those masteries to get through it, okay? And yeah, again, you definitely want Brimstone on Ninja. I like the 230 speed. It's going to make him still good elsewhere in the game. If you drop him to 190, it's going to be less useful in places like Hydra and Doom Tower. This is a pretty good speed. Perhaps you can get it higher and still get Brimstone up every time. But like I said, this is what works for me. So those are the builds. Nice thing about this, because I was doing this as well before coming in, 47 seconds was the fastest. So stage 7 is a really quick way to grind out the smallest oils, which is the quickest way, of course, to get that advanced quest done, right? That really annoying advanced quest. So Ninja, with this build, will come in and solo it. Now, he's going to lose a little bit of time in the sense that he's going to be too quick to land Hailburn on the first hit. He's going to outspeed the boss. But as you saw, he got the Hailburn hit off right there. So once more, luck is going to come into it in terms of when he places the Brimstone. It's all very luck-based, but he will get through this just fine. He can solo it. He's actually, there we go, he's landed Brimstone, so you do want him fairly quick there. Unfortunately, woke the boss up a little bit early, but he'll get through this. I've seen this vary from, like I said, 47 was my fastest time to maybe about 1 minute 20. We'll see, but he's going to be able to solo this just fine with the gear we have on. He is in regen. He does need regen for stage 24 as well. But but you can put him then in Perception instead of Immortal. The nice thing about stage 24 and stage 7, unlike Godseeker, who's Void, because he's positive affinity, he cannot be crit by the boss. The boss has a 0% chance to crit because of that affinity, and there's also the weak hits as well, which will help him stay alive. So that makes stage 24 in particular much easier. You can see that, okay, this has not been the fastest run, but it is a very, very safe run, and we're just going to rip through, and bam, there we go. So 1 minute, 8 seconds. Luck definitely factors in, but it's a pretty quick way with this same ninja build to take down stage 7. Let's run stage 24 once again. With this setup. And yeah, again, to mention, guys, I tested this on stage 25, and with these speeds, it is not enough on Godseeker. Perhaps she needs 262, perhaps 263. One thing you could do, I think you definitely be safe if you're up at 266, which was the initial thought for the speed for stage 24, which is 1 speed faster than the boss on stage 24. I think 266 almost definitely is enough for stage 25 with Spirit Haste. She will get those 2 turns in that we need. All that you would need to change if you have her faster than 265, which is the boss speed for 24, is on your stage 24 setup, have her open with her A1, right? She cannot waste her, you don't want her to waste her A2. I guess you could waste her A2 before the boss takes a turn, but you're better off just, it's going to be easier, more consistent if she A2s after the boss one-shots the team. So yeah, I think it's such an interesting team, right? Because it's just about surviving. I tried it without Immortal gear on Godseeker, and her destroyed max HP wasn't healing up. I re-geared her in Immortal, and it fixed itself, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. But regen and Immortal, she will stay alive. Ninja, actually not the worst to build tanky, especially if you build him low speed, but 230. I thought this is intensive gear-wise overall on both these champions, but it works. It is consistent. There's no bugs. It's just doing the boss, using the boss mechanics against him, basically. So yeah, it's a consistently good time run. It's not the best stage, you know, stage 25 is a bit better, but it's going to be much slower because there's no ninja standard champ in the correct affinity for that. Tomb Drang, I think, can do it in probably about 5 minutes or so. Mine isn't booked, so it would be a little bit slower. I will come back and take a look at stage 25 in the future. I think when I can improve the gear on Godseeker, let's cross our fingers, please, for ascending her boots, and it gives speed. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? We'll see if that will happen. But yeah, you can see the run. We get one shot. She revives, picks him up. He activates the burns. The destroyed HP is gone. Heals back up. Everyone is fine. Ninja will take some destroyed max HP with my gear, but it's not going to matter. He will live just fine. Again, he cannot be crit, so he's in much less danger than Godseeker is. And there you go. This looks like it's going to be about a 2 minute or so run. Let's see, 220 maybe, not 214. Boom, down it goes. And lovely. And like I said, there is some of that flexibility with gear, which is sort of the new discovery. Guys, there you go. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it helpful. Hope you found it interesting. This is tough to gear. I mean, you might be farming lower stages for a long time, ascending up your gear. You get some really good regen, and then you can maybe do it. I think it's tough to do. Hopefully, if you've been playing long enough to get Ninja, this is something you might be able to build if you've been playing long enough to have the gear. Otherwise, you know, there are going to be alternative but slower champions that can do it. They might introduce new champions in the future. Cronam might work. We'll come back to that and see. I don't have him, so it's hard to test. I'll try to let you know when I find out. But you can definitely work away, grind the lower stages, get those pots, and you'll be good. So there we go, guys. Godseeker and Ninja. I wanted to make sure I had a video up on this on the channel and what I discovered from trying to build it. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.